Welcome to College Football Monday, a Sons of Saturday live show brought to you by Jack and Coke. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got my co-host, Sam Jesse, here with me. And College Football Monday comes to you each and every week live at 8 p.m. to tell you what's been going on in college football and give you a heavy dose of what the Hokies are up to. In this episode, we're going to recap all the week 3 action, including a conversation with the Uptown Update guys, a Tulane pod, Sam. Those guys have a big game this weekend.
Yeah, they had a pretty big one. We've had them on the show before when I did Behind Enemy Lines for the Military Bowl a couple years ago, which, doesn't that feel like ages ago? Well, we're going to talk about that with them as well. But they are one of these group of 5, group of 6, mid-major, whatever you want to call them. But one of these programs that year after year is positioning themselves for the playoff. We'll see if they can break through this year, but they're off to a great start.
Yeah, man. So we're going to do that. We're going to go over what happened in Blacksburg on Saturday night. Don't worry. There will be more Virginia Tech firing their coach embarrassing loss content coming at you around 8:45-ish, around then, maybe 40 minutes from now. And our playoff teams, our stock up and stock down teams. We'll get to all that later in the show. But Sam, give us a cheers. Kick us off.
Oh, I haven't poured this bad boy yet. But my cheers here is to fresh starts, new beginnings, clean slates, whatever you want to call it. You know what? It's only up from here, Pete. It truly is only up from here.
Cheers. This is just straight vodka right here. No.
Is it really?
I needed a water night, man. Had too much. We recorded last night. You didn't drink last night.
No.
You're going to handle the beers tonight, and I'm going to do this. So that'll work. If you have any questions, make sure to hop in the chat. Send us something. Oh, we got some comments already firing in here.
Wait, Pete, look at that pour.
That's a
that's a
good evening,
pour.
LeVar. Thanks for being here. Chris Lester, thank you for being here. As always, supporter of the show. Appreciate it. Jason Link, evening, fellows. Yes, evening to you too. And we got a chat back and forth in there as well. Get in here. This is going to be our little bit of therapy session number 2. This is a weekly session.
There's a lot of awesome football to talk about. Like that was a crazy week 3, and we got a lot to talk about.
There was some good, there was some bad, some ugly over the weekend. We were part of that. 2 Power 5 coaches did it again, Sam. 2 Power 4 coaches are out. That is UCLA head coach Deshaun Foster and Virginia Tech head coach Brent Pry, as you know. So the first 2 openings, more to come. I would assume Florida will open up at some point during the year, but we'll talk about those Gators. They got another tough game this upcoming week, man. It doesn't get easier for Billy Napier down there.
No, it does not.
AP poll, Miami moved up to number 4 after their win. A&M moved up to number 10. Georgia Tech jumps in to number 18. Clemson dropped all the way out. They only got 6 receiving votes, Sam. Did Clemson. The voters are done with them.
I don't know if I'm not ready to call it like the death of Clemson, because they very well could win the rest of their games and win the ACC, but they don't have it anymore.
No, I want to talk a little bit about them maybe not being elite anymore. We've said it, but they were talking about on Cover 3 and put out some stats that were like pretty shocking. Chris Lester said, I smoked a cigar for you guys on Saturday to stay calm. We tried. We tried. 0-3 teams in college football right now. Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, directional Michigan schools not doing too good. UMass, Sam Houston State, Oregon State, UCLA, Akron, and Virginia Tech. That is quite a crew of teams right there.
The island of misfit toys.
Now, we have played a different schedule than some of those teams, but the only G5 team we've played pasted us. So we can't really talk.
Yeah. There will be no bragging on this podcast, maybe for at least another 2 months.
We got to get a win. We got to get a W.
Oh, man.
All right, moving on to our top 5 game segment. Texas A&M with the game-winning extra point at the very end of the Notre Dame contest. They win 41-40. This was a stellar football game, Sam. The high-quality teams, great coaches. It looked great aesthetically, just on
Great
TV, the
uniform
Aggies
game.
helmets.
Mhm.
Like it was really cool. And it was tied 34 all late in the ball game. Notre Dame runs right down the field, literally runs. Like almost every play was a run. Steady chunks, love scores on what could have been an iconic 12-yard run if it had stayed the game winner. But they botched the hold, missed the extra point. Texas A&M executes what I will call a messy drive, some
Yep.
penalties in there, but they get down and it's first and goal. All of a sudden it's fourth and goal. And it seems like Notre Dame's going to survive. I really thought they were, but Reed gets it in there too. I guess it was Bo Kircher for the touchdown.
Reed has improved maybe more than any other quarterback in the country. And I think we've seen some not great quarterback play so far this season. His ceiling looks really, really high. And I don't know if you're into like Heisman futures, Pete, but that dude looks like a legit Heisman quarterback. When he play his pocket movement, he can run really well, but he doesn't run first. Like he keeps his eyes downfield. And I think he saw a matchup. He saw a tight end that was like 7 inches bigger than the guy who was on him.
Yeah.
And he just went for it. And that's like, trust your guys to go out there and make plays. And it worked for him all night. I mean, they were the better team all night, I thought.
Yeah. Just in case you didn't know, that tied the game, and then they hit the extra point and they won. So what a painful way. They kept showing, was it Tyler Buckner on the sideline?
How is Tyler Buckner still in college football?
I think he was just playing at a young age. Wasn't he like the lacrosse kid? Or wait, he transferred around too.
He transferred from Bama
to Bama and then back.
Yeah, he played lacrosse and football at Notre Dame. Then he transferred to Bama for like a year, and then he transferred back to Notre Dame. But like, he's never been good. Like, I don't know what this guy is doing on a college
I feel
football
bad
field.
for him.
I do too. I really do.
Excruciating loss for the Irish. Reed's stat line, to what you were just saying, was wild. 360 yards on only 17 completions. That is a crazy average. Under 50% completion percentage. But when he did complete it, they went a long way. He got about a 78 QBR, and he continuously was like making things happen again and again. And now in the SEC, you look at some of these quarterbacks. There's a lot of exciting quarterbacks in this conference. There's been some years where it's been light, but with Talon Green and this guy and a few of the, Mateer. I went and watched Mateer in person. Ooh. We'll talk about him a little bit later. There's a lot of fun quarterbacks in the conference right now.
There are. So in Notre Dame, played in the Natty last year, really, really good defensive team. Gave up a 50% success rate to Miami, gave up a 45% success rate to Texas A&M. Both of those are pretty high numbers. Is it possible they're just not that good this year? I know, they've played two very, very playoff caliber teams, and they've played them tight, but we thought there'd be a little bit of regression here, but is there going to be a little bit more?
No, because I really think these are two. I think Miami and A&M are potentially playoff teams. I mean, these are really good teams, and Notre Dame could have won that game. They could have come back on Miami. They almost did. So I think Notre Dame is very good, but now their margins for the rest of the year, there is no margin.
They have to be perfect, and they have to have massive amounts of cannibalization in the SEC.
I think regression, sure. But we didn't think Notre Dame was a national championship game team midway through last year.
No. And they just kind of survived.
There. Yeah. They survived, and CJ Carr's good, man. I mean, he played pretty well. Again, he's had his first two games. I mean, you talked about the opponents, tough teams. He had an 80 QBR in this game, 293 yards passing on Elko's defense. And I come away very impressed with Notre Dame, despite the brutal loss. We have to talk about Super Mario for A&M. 7 receptions, 207, and a touchdown. He had that 86-yarder. Their running back, Moss, had 81 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, was consistently getting 4 yards at a time, was Moss. And Jeremiah Love, I mean, he did what he does. 23 carries, 94 yards, 53 in the receiving game. He had a great game. Him and Price accounted for 4 total touchdowns. Like, they were at home, and so that's why this loss stings worse, and it's because of a missed extra point. But they can run the table. They absolutely can run the table. It's just they can't screw up.
Yeah, I that's a lot of pressure to put on a team that I think has a lot of tricky games left. I mean, they have Purdue Arkansas on the road at noon is going to be tough because that's a team that can score a lot of points. Then they host Boise State, who is in a very similar position they are and do not write off the Broncos just yet. Then they have to play NC State, who is still undefeated. Then they play USC, who is scoring 1 million points. Then they got to travel. Here's would be perfect. If they survive that, they have to travel to Chestnut Hill. And then they play a very good Navy team. And then they have to travel to Pittsburgh. And then they play Syracuse and Stanford.
You just made a very mediocre schedule sound tough.
I'm telling you, dude, like it's tricky. Like they have, I would say they have 1, 2, 3, 4, call it at BC. I'll call it 5.
The NC State one is interesting because I don't think NC State's very good, but they are.
I don't think it matters. We didn't think NIU wasn't good last year.
Like, I know.
Marshall wasn't good the year before that.
I mean, Notre Dame has dropped a game to a bad team at home each of Marcus Freeman's first couple years. They don't
have a lot of bad. Like they have Purdue is bad, Stanford is bad, and I think Syracuse is bad.
Well, Stanford just beat that BC team, and Purdue covered against USC.
But you know how Chestnut Hill goes.
Well, wait, no, that game was in California, wasn't it?
No. I know the game.
When Notre Dame goes there, yeah.
I'm just saying, like every single one of these games is not. It's a little scary. It's a little scary.
It's scary when you don't have any room for error. Absolutely. And the NC State, this is what the point I wanted to say on that. Colley Matrix. One of the places I look at just to see rankings, how conferences are comparing. And it's too early to take anything into his like 1 through 36 rankings. But what's funny right now is NC State is number 1 in the Colley Matrix.
I mean, they've played. I mean, ECU is not a bad team. Like ECU might make a bowl game. They're fine. Wake Forest isn't very good, but you win that one on the road. UVA looks like they could make a bowl game. So it's like, it's very early, very early.
I just thought it was funny. All right. Georgia Tech beats Clemson 24-21. Haynes King in this game just looked so in control. He threw some absolute dimes, but he's never going to like be perfect in the passing game, but he threw some nice passes. He was running the ball hard as he normally does, taking shots, but it was 13-0 Georgia Tech before Clemson got a huge third down run that led to points. It was 13-7. And then Clemson took the lead in the third, 14-13 after the big play to Wesco, which was a cool play. And that's how it stayed until the fourth. GT had a 13-play, 90-yard touchdown drive to start the fourth quarter, got the 2-point conversion, take the 7-point lead. Clemson tied it with a 13-play drive of their own with 3.5 minutes left. But Haynes King wasn't going to let them lose the game. Like that's how I felt. They got the yards they needed to get into field goal range. They hit it as time expires, 24-21 Georgia Tech. And when you look at this game, Sam, did you ever feel like Clemson was going to win it?
It did feel like if this game goes to overtime, Clemson could win it. Okay. That's for me. That's what it felt like because during the game, it felt so Georgia Tech. And then you were like, oh gosh, if this goes to overtime, who knows? And Taylor is saying GT is a major sleeper. I don't know if they're a sleeper anymore.
Yeah.
I think they have officially woken up and it's like, they're not going to play perfect. They're not going to play pretty. Like in this game, it wasn't great football from Georgia Tech, but when they needed it, right, they perfectly executed. They had like 20 seconds left when they took that snap on third down at the end of the game. And it was just everyone in the world knew the play call. Haynes King right up the middle. He got down. And then it was like immediate changing of the guard to get field goal unit in, kicks it, nails it. And that was what I really liked about this. T-Bob on the Unnecessary Roughness podcast that Barstool has, who's been a phenomenal addition to them. He played offensive line at LSU back in the day. He said that's such a wonderful piece of coaching because he took the timeout before third down and they knew exactly what they were going to do. He's going to run up the middle. He's going to get stuffed, but we're immediately going to run everybody on. And your kicker doesn't have time to think about it. It's all mechanics at that point. You get out there, you line up, you kick the ball. That's just really good coaching. That's trusting your players.
And that's Brent Key, and that's the offensive coordinator. That offensive coordinator managed the end of that game really well. And it is the opposite of what we've seen in Blacksburg, but it was a masterpiece at the end of the game. And they got a very important win for that program. I love it for King. I love it for Haynes. I love it for Brent Key. So let's talk about Clemson's offense before we kind of go back to Georgia Tech. It was better on Saturday overall, but it's still hard to watch. And it's we need a giant play from Wesco dependent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like they don't have a lot of negative, like they don't have a lot of bad plays. It's just they don't have many explosive plays at all in their offense.
No.
Like they can't really run the ball. Clay Kubnik can run, but he isn't really running. And then they can throw the ball and they have these good wide receivers, but you're like, okay, they're going to make a big pass play. And then the first quarter ends and you're waiting for it. The second quarter ends. It's like, it felt very similar to the game that they had against Virginia Tech last year, except they were just playing a better offense where it's like the Clemson Tigers never really threatened on offense. Like eventually they scored.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, they feel very reliant on the other team being an ACC team. Like I do think they have dropped down to the level of the rest of the conference. I did not expect that from this team. I was really high on Clemson. So far, I've been wrong, especially on the offensive side.
It's just weird that Klubnik is so far into his career. He's had consistency on the offensive staff now for a few seasons, and you're just expecting him to come back and light it up. That's what everyone was expecting. That's why they were the heavy ACC favorite. That's why he was a Heisman future, like one of the best odds. And he just leaves you wanting more. I mean, he wasn't terrible. The interception in the red zone was a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Only a 56.1 QBR, but I feel like he played slightly better than that rating, but that's the rating. And you add disappointing quarterback play to not having the Sammy Watkins and Nuck Hopkins on the outside and not having the D-line talent. I know like Woods and I'm forgetting the other kid's name. Like they got talent across that D-line.
Yeah.
But like, it's not what it was. It is just not what it was.
At no point does it look dominant. It looks better. Like when you see them, I think you could say, okay, Clemson is probably better than the team on the other side. Like they're more talented.
Definitely.
But you don't really see it come to fruition during the game.
No. They have so much talent. They're favored to beat LSU. They're favored to beat Georgia Tech, and they lose both of those games. And it doesn't seem as if they're anything close to an elite program anymore. They set on cover 3, as I was hinting at earlier. They have 8 losses to unranked teams since 2021.
Yeah, I think they've kind of played with their food a little bit here. And it's cost them. It really, really has.
For Georgia Tech, they don't play any of the best teams in the ACC throughout the rest of the year. They get no Louisville, no Florida State, no Miami. Of course, they have Georgia at the end of the year, but it is so manageable here. They're going to be favored in just about every game, I would imagine. Haynes King, I said prior to the season, he was the best quarterback in the ACC. I'm standing by it.
Mm-hmm.
People will disagree. The dude knows how to win. I don't know how long he's going to last because he literally took a shot to the head going into the end zone.
And that's the thing with him. I don't know. Like I'm looking at their schedule right now and they have Temple coming up and then there's Wake Forest and then it's Virginia Tech and then it's Duke and then Syracuse. And then at NC State's like the next good team they play and that's November 1st. Mm-hmm. And all those 5 games, I don't see any of them being an issue for Georgia Tech if Haynes King is healthy. If he's not healthy, we saw what they looked like last year and it was mediocre at best. And so I think you're just saying like I would not be surprised if he doesn't play against Temple. They sat him out for Gardner Webb.
They're going to use him in the games that they need him, you know, and it's kind of funny, but I mean, hey man,
I mean, you got a home game against Temple. Philo looked great against Gardner Webb. I know that's an FCS team, but dude, he might be like Kawhi Leonard in the Toronto Raptors championship run right now. Like only play him in the games you need him and sit him everywhere.
Load management.
Yep.
We got to move on to Georgia beating Tennessee in overtime, 44-41. Tennessee got off to a great start in this game. And that's something we saw across college football this weekend where a team would like get out to a fast start and then the other team would catch up. Well, that's kind of what happened here. But Brazel, I don't know if it's Brazel or Brazel, the transfer who was at Tulane 2 years ago, he was balling. 177 yards in the game, 3 touchdowns, 21-7 at the end of the first quarter. Georgia came back, took the lead, 27-21 towards the end of the third. Stockton was passing the ball well, 304, 3 touchdowns, but so was Joey Aguilar. Just kind of tossing it up, but the guys were catching it and scoring. They trade some blows. It's 38-38, goes to overtime. In overtime, Tennessee has to settle for the field goal. You know what's coming. And Georgia punches in the touchdown in 3 plays. Game dogs. Look, Tennessee was missing 2 cornerback starters, and they took what is largely considered one of the best teams in the country every year right up until the end. But they were the home team, and they couldn't close the deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think I come away thinking Tennessee is really, really good.
Yeah, I think like you're one of the few people who I thought really had Tennessee as a playoff team going into this year, and you might be right. To me, though, this felt like, I don't want to say this felt like a de facto playoff game because both of these teams look really good. But I would not be surprised if we get to the end of November and it's like, well, Tennessee, like you have a really good resume. You played a tough schedule, but just too many losses. Like Tennessee going 9-3 and being left out of the playoff because of this overtime loss. Like I see that world because we saw it last year.
It definitely could happen. They need to go 10-2 to get in. I think that's because they have one of the easier schedules in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk more about this when we get to our playoff segment. But you're right. With this loss, it's going to make it harder for them to get to the title. But if you look at their schedule, it is way better than at least half the teams in the SEC that they're competing with. So that's something to consider. Will I take them out of my playoff projection? We'll get to that later. Just 2 more games, and then we're going to bring on our guest. And these will be a little bit quicker. Miami stomps USF 49-12. 2 things here. South Florida just couldn't rev it up again.
Ran out of gas.
Yeah, I mean, they ran out of gas. But Miami also seems to be in a different class than Boise State and Florida.
Mm-hmm. And there was also like a lightning delay in this game, I think. So that might have hurt. But for me, dude, Miami might be legit. I really hate to tell all the Hokies in here. I'm so sorry. I don't want to pile on y'all. It hurts me too. But like Miami might be a legitimate national title team.
I like this. Happy to see the Hokie Pillow Pet is feeling less shame this week. That's right. He is out of his bag. we got rid of the coach. He can come out of his shell. He's feeling happier. He's all propped up. He's feeling good. Final thoughts on the Canes. They scored on the first 2 drives, never looked back. 14-3, 28-6, 35-12, 49-12. Beck was awesome. 340, 3 touchdowns, 91 QBR. Fletcher went for 120 on just 16 carries and 2 touchdowns. Marion and Tony looked like they hit on those receivers.
Yep.
And the secondary for Miami looks better. It's not perfect, but you can't argue with giving up 12 points to a Byron Brown-led team. And the rushing, I mean, that defensive line is so stout. They gave up 40 rushing yards.
Yeah, they might just be really, really good. Because Carson Beck is playing really efficiently, and that's one thing he struggled with at Georgia. Like, he would throw for 300 yards, but it would be an ugly 300 yards. He looks so much more efficient right now in this offense, and this offensive line and defensive line. I don't know if there's a better line of scrimmage in college football this year. I really don't. It's up there, man.
It really is. It's an SEC level line play that you're getting out of Miami. So they seem like a more complete team this year, and that's saying something because they were good last year, and they host Florida this weekend. So we'll see if they can keep it going. A tough beginning of the season for Miami, but they've lived up to it so far. Our last game we're going to discuss before we bring on the guys from Uptown Update, Ole Miss. This is related to our next segment. Ole Miss holds on to beat Arkansas. This was a wild game. Very, very fun. Both teams went nuts in the second quarter, a combined 45 points in that period. 31-28 the half, Rebels. And it was Trinidad Shambles in this game.
What a name.
As the quarterback for Ole Miss, because Simmons is dealing with that injury. He was 21 of 29 for 353 and a touchdown. Also ran for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's crazy what Lane Kiffin can get out of his offense, out of his quarterbacks, no matter who it is.
I mean, Fair State legend, Trinidad Shambles. Who could forget? D2 powerhouse. And Taylor Green was really good in this game too. Like, he seems to be at his potential as well. I would not be surprised if Arkansas takes down somebody at this point this year.
Oh yeah.
Ole Miss, I need to see more from them because I do think Arkansas is like a bottom third SEC team, and they struggled with. So right now they have really relatively close wins to Kentucky and Arkansas. If you are looking at Ole Miss as a playoff sleeper team or fringe playoff team or whatever, those aren't the results you would like. Win is a win, and you're never going to complain about that. But I just have question marks about this Ole Miss team. Although, again, backup quarterback here.
I think Brett said in our chat that Talon Green is what the media wanted Sellers to be. And it's so right. That kid is really special, and he's kind of single-handedly like making them potentially a bowl team. I mean,
Talon Green got benched at Boise State not too long ago.
That's crazy, but it looked like Arkansas was going to drive down for the winning score too before that Brown fumble, and it robbed us of what could have been an awesome ending to this game. Both teams were just executing at a high level. The defense turned it on late for both. But that Arkansas offense is lethal. It was fun. It was just a really fun game to watch. 526 yards for the Arkansas offense in the Grove. Green went for over 100, 115 on the ground, 305 in the air. That's what this kid is doing against an SEC defense.
He's good.
Ole Miss hosts Tulane on Saturday. Scary spot for the Rebs, in my opinion. More on that
I agree.
in just 1 second. As I said at the top of the show, College Football Monday is brought to you by Jack and Coke. 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke. The #1 cocktail in the world is now available in a can. Yes, it's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar or Cherry Coke or Vanilla Coke, now available at your local grocery and convenience stores. You can get that variety pack now. You can get the vanilla, the cherry, and the original all in one box.
Blackberry dropped.
Blackberry straight liquor. That's just Tennessee whiskey, blackberry flavored, is out now.
That's
and
wild.
So a lot of good products from there. They got the Jack and Ginger. There's so many good varieties that it's coming from Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola. They're doing their damn thing, and it's so easy. Just drop them in the cooler. You're ready to go for the tailgate. So 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke, ready to drink. And when you are drinking those Jack and Cokes, please drink responsibly. It's time to bring on our guest. What's going on? This is Jack from the Uptown Update. Welcome to the show, man.
Going, boys. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Please excuse my voice. If y'all weren't aware, we had a pretty big game on Saturday, and I used it all.
Hey, that's all right. You guys got a big win. You beat Duke 34-27. That had to feel good. I mean, that just had to be so satisfying after the way they stole your quarterback.
Yeah, there's just a way you're supposed to leave a program. In the world of college football right now, right? It's inevitable. Players run to the portal. That's fine. You got to leave on good terms. Don't quit on your team, and it did feel good. It was kind of weird. Obviously, I've been to games, right, where the fan base hates the opposing team and they're loud and they boo and they cheer and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever been to a matchup before where the crowd hates one specific player on a team. And it was pretty nasty. I mean, Darian Mensah, Duke's quarterback, former Tulane quarterback, was warming up by the student section before almost every drive. And the student section was just letting him have it the whole entire game.
I can only imagine.
Yelling things like traitor, 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 the whole entire media timeout while he was warming up. It got to the point where I almost felt bad for him. His teammates were coming up and pat him on the back and stuff. But that was an awesome environment. It was a great win. And I don't think the game was quite as close as the score indicated. Mensah did most of his damage after the Wave took an 18-point lead with about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you all that.
Well, the game got up to 24-3.
Yeah, that's
at
what
one point.
Say.
I mean, it was almost halftime. It was an absolute blowout for a while. Even in your wildest dreams, did you expect a scoreline like that heading into half?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I expected it, but that's like what you hoped happened. You hope Mensah got out there and was just rattled, and we picked him off a few times, and it became a blowout. But I'll say Javian White, and I want to talk about him a little bit because he's my pick for player of the year so far. A true sophomore corner. He dropped a second interception in the first half with about a minute and a half to go in the half that would have put the Wave back in the red zone. And if that had happened at 24-3 and we got another touchdown before half, the game was over, right? Like that drive, actually, Duke ended up scoring a touchdown right before the half, and that kind of kept the game alive for a little bit. And then Retzlaff obviously fumbled on the first drive of the second half and got even closer. But if White doesn't drop that interception and Tulane gets more points before the half, the scoreline would have looked how it felt in the stadium.
It was dominating. That's how I looked at it. And they were just ready. And Summerall seems to have this ability to motivate your team properly, whether it was the Northwestern uniform gate situation or now playing your former quarterback. And he knows, his strengths and weaknesses as well. And they were able to play off that. Retzlaff was awesome, though. 245 yards passing, 111 rushing, 4 touchdowns on the ground, and 95 QBR. I know this isn't how it works, but how do you feel about the QB swap? Like the trade of Mensah for Retzlaff. Do you feel like he might suit what Summerall wants to do better? Like, how do you feel like that went down?
Well, all last year, the coaching staff was trying to get Mensah to run more and take off more because he's pretty fast. I mean, he's not Retzlaff fast, but he's got mobility. And he wouldn't, like Mensah, to his credit, keeps his eyes down the field and tries to extend plays and throw passes. But Retzlaff is not afraid to take off, and he is really fast. I mean, Michael Pratt was a good runner a few years ago, but he hasn't touched Retzlaff's top speed, right? We really didn't open the playbook in the first 2 matchups against Northwestern and South Alabama. There was a lot of debate amongst Tulane fans on whether that was on purpose or whether Retzlaff didn't know the playbook yet or why it looked sort of tame. But really what the difference in this particular matchup was the coaching staff ran a ton of RPO and read option plays. And the reason was because Duke plays fast. So to their credit, right, they get in the backfield fast. Well, guess what? If you're getting in the backfield fast and the ball's already in front of the line of scrimmage, then you're in the wrong spot. So the coaching staff was real excited to break out the read option and run a lot of plays with misdirection and try and capitalize on the speed of which Duke's defense played. Pro tip for Virginia Tech later in the season, I guess.
We don't draw the Dookies this year, so that's nice.
We're beyond coaching points at this point. Though.
I don't think it would have helped anyway. But Sam, do you have something else for Jack?
Yeah, it is kind of surprising how quickly Jake Retzlaff has gotten his feet under him. I mean, this guy went from like pretty damning national story headlines, like something you definitely don't want to be involved in. And then a couple months later, he's like rushing for over 100 yards every game and throwing for 3. Like, how did he turn this around so quick? And how did the coaching staff get him ready to be not only a key contributor to this team, but the quarterback of a team that we're going to talk about our playoff picks coming up here soon, is a team that's one of the leaders to make a playoff spot?
Well, Coach Summerall would call that last statement rat poison. He doesn't.
That's okay. He can do that. He
doesn't like to hear that praise quite this early on. But I'll say that coming into the last few weeks of camp, Brendan Sullivan, the Iowa transfer, was actually slated to be the starter, but he got hurt. He injured his leg, and I think it was like 2 weeks before the Northwestern game. So, Retzlaff sort of fell into this spot and was only on campus for about 3 weeks before he was taking the bulk of the reps with the ones. And like I mentioned, I don't know if the full offensive install has been complete yet, but part of the reason why he's running so much is because he knows how to do that, right? He did it at BYU. He did it at the lower college levels and in high school too. So, well, I think the passing game will evolve as the year goes on, and I think we saw the first step of that evolution against Duke. But there's a reason why he's tied for second in the entire country in rushing touchdowns right now, right? It's, hey man, read the defensive end. If he's coming to tackle your running back, keep it. And he knows how to do that pretty well.
There's just like such a certain amount of luck that goes on in college football, and I'm not trying to knock anything that happened to Tulane, but like this quarterback
totally
fell into lap.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's a credit to Tulane for being ready to what do they say? Like luck is when hard work meets or something, like preparation meets opportunity. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happened here at Tulane. Tulane is a spot that is willing to pay for some players at the G5, and not a lot of programs at that level are. I mean, there's only a small handful. And so Tulane was ready. They said, we need a quarterback. They went out, they got a proven quarterback. Here they are. It sounds simple.
Best coaches figure out a way to take that guy within a few weeks and get him passing and rushing like this. I mean, the team would look a lot different without him. It's not to say they still wouldn't have won this game. We'll never know, but the best coaches can adapt like that. And it's why your coach is going to be sought after as we move through the season, but that's not what we're here to talk about. You also seem to have some nice skill players, despite losing Mekhi Hughes, despite losing Brazel, who we talked about just in the last segment 2 years ago. You got Hayes, Preston, Bohannon at wide receiver, and Gordon and Mobley at running back. Like, there's good options for Retzlaff and the rest of the offense to work with. And the success that Tulane has had since 2022, with Fritz and now Summerall, 12-2, 11-3, 9-5, 3-0, won a Cotton Bowl. And that's with losing all those guys, always having SEC teams and whatever outbid you. It's a testament to the structure of the athletic department. I've said this before on the show, I would love to have Tulane in the ACC. One, it would be a great destination if you want to go watch a game, go down to New Orleans, but they're just doing things right down there. There's something structurally that, and maybe you could speak more to it, that, you're able to replace a guy like Willie Fritz who accomplished so much there and not lose a step.
Yeah. I'll give y'all a three-pronged answer here. So, number one, right? You've got to have organizational alignment, top to bottom. And I'm not talking. It doesn't stop at the athletic director, right? It goes all the way to the university president. And Tulane's a private university, so we don't have to deal with any sort of state funding or politics involved and stuff like that. So I think that's an asset. But really, we call it Gibson Hall. That's our administration building. Gibson Hall has really supported athletics, and they wouldn't have, I don't think, without the Cotton Bowl win. I think that was really a turning point for this program, where the university realized how much of an asset a good college football team could be. Tulane's always thought about as an academic university or maybe a party school to some, but now it's a football school, I think. And so number one is organizational alignment. If Coach Summerall says jump, the entire university will jump, right? It's and the staff itself is really good and really motivated, and they've worked together for as long as Summerall's been a head coach, and the consistency there is key. And then number two is it's no coincidence, right, that Tulane really picked it up in 2022 and NIL became a thing in 2021. It's a very good university, and it's got a very wealthy alumni base. It's in a big city, right? A lot of business in New Orleans. So there's money there, right? And Tulane's capitalized on that. Was Fear the Wave Collective. I got to shout them out. They were one of the first NIL collectives, period, in the entire country. And they were very well run and very organized. And actually, one of the founders is our director of player personnel, or pseudo general manager, right? So he actually left with Fritz to go to Houston and then came back, and now he runs Tulane's player acquisition department. And then the third thing is I think Summerall said it on the Group of Five Guys podcast, but he basically said, hey, look, New Orleans is a world-class city. Tulane's a world-class academic institution. And we're going to play winning football. If you can't recruit to New Orleans, then you just suck at recruiting. I'm paraphrasing there, but
yeah, he's got a point.
Right. So it's just an attractive destination, right? You play winning football, you get paid, and yeah, you get rewarded for it. Our backup defensive tackle is a starter at Wisconsin now. Like, you play well, you're going to get your opportunity.
That was very well explained about how Tulane has done this come up.
It gives you vibes of like, dude, I mean, Miami's a medium-sized private institution in a large city, and it works for Miami. They're one of the biggest programs in the country. You see what Stanford is able to do out in California, and there is a proof of concept for the small to medium-sized private school in a big city developing really good athletics. It's not Tulane is obviously special in its own right, but in the world of college sports, we've kind of seen this story before, and I think to me that shows Tulane can sustain this. Past player turnover, coach turnover, whatever's naturally going to happen in college athletics. It's like, okay, this can go on for decades because it's done it other places.
I always compare it to TCU and what TCU did in the early 2000s. I think we're about 20 years behind TCU, but that's sort of the example that I always bring up of a school with a lot of history that didn't have a really solid football program, and then had sort of a transformational coach in Gary Patterson. They jumped conferences a few times and found themselves in a national championship game not that long ago.
Yeah, and it's a talent-rich area. Texas is a talent-rich state. You guys are in the same, and Miami. Like, if you look at those those three examples of private schools, and Miami and Tulane are both like very high-quality academic institutions with very rich alumni bases in major cities. It's very interesting, and it's wondering how high they could go if they were to ever get in a bigger conference such as the ACC. You guys have
that. I'd love to go to the ACC. Yeah, that'd be a great fit.
Dude, it's not that far-fetched. I mean, who knows what's going to, like, we've talked about it all the time, people, like, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years? Right. I have no idea at this point. But let's talk a little bit about the matchup with Ole Miss coming up. You said in a message to me earlier today, you're like, Tulane's in this weird spot. Like, they don't have a lot of big rivals now. Like, there's been conference movement all over the place. You don't really play LSU anymore. Ole Miss is kind of right there, right? The state next door. And this, I don't see, it's not really a rivalry game, right? But this feels like a really big opportunity for Tulane, and one that Ole Miss might be a little bit sleepy on.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss is actually Tulane's second oldest rival after LSU.
I was going to say, I was doing some Wikipedia research, and Ole Miss Tulane, which I was not aware of either, is a little bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, people forget because we haven't been in the SEC for 60 years, but we have if you look at like the games or the programs that Tulane's played the most games against, that it's like LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, Mississippi State. It's like all the old SEC rivals that we played for 60 years until we left the conference. So I mean, we haven't played them too much in super recent history, but we played them pretty tight in 2023, if y'all remember. Mm-hmm. Another game where the final score probably was indicative of how it actually went. And that game, we were playing with a backup quarterback. It was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter.
Who was the quarterback that game?
So Michael Pratt was the starter, but he was hurt. And Kai Horton came in, who's now the backup quarterback at Washington. So another example there. He couldn't get on the 3 deep at Tulane, so he transferred to Washington. So I mean, it's an interesting matchup. I think you hit it on the head. I'm thinking Tulane's coming into this matchup playing with house money. We won 3 of our non-conference games. We have 2 power conference wins, which is something that the committee will always look at right down the road. We're not ranked. So if we were ranked, if we had a number next to our name, I think a lot of people would take us more seriously who aren't paying as close attention. And Ole Miss has LSU the week after us. They have LSU coming to town. And I was looking on Twitter today. I didn't see a lot of tweets about the Tulane game.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what you want.
Exactly. So I don't think that they're going to come out scared. I think Tulane's going to come and say like, hey, look, we've got nothing to lose here. Like, who cares? Yeah. Literally, who cares if we lose this game? Everyone expects us to lose this game. Let's go win. Like, why not? And I don't think Ole Miss is going to be prepared for that best effort, which, by the way, Tulane's best effort is really, really good this year. We just haven't had that best effort for a complete 4 quarters yet.
Yeah, and I don't think Ole Miss has necessarily had their best effort yet either, and let's just hope it doesn't show up for your guys' sake on Saturday. And the time slot and everything is also great. It's 3:30 on ESPN. Like, you guys are going to be on in every bar around the country. It's a showcase game, and under Lane Kiffin, we know Ole Miss has the offense, right? It's gonna be dangerous. Your defense is gonna be working, and they have the big SEC bodies. What areas do you feel you might have an advantage on Saturday?
That's a great question. So obviously we just watched Taylon Green kind of light him up on the ground. And I alluded to it earlier, Jake Retzlaff, he's got, what is it? Almost 300 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns in 3 games. So, he can get it done. And we just started running RPOs and read options. We didn't really do that a ton in the first 2 games. So, I think that's an advantage right there. I don't think their linebackers and their secondary are that good against the run. They obviously have a fantastic pass rush and a fantastic defensive line. It's pretty similar to Duke's defense, honestly. I think the game plan will be pretty similar. But yeah, and on the other side of the ball, everyone talks about Lane Kiffin passing, and they've got a great running back in Kwan Lacey, who's more of a physical guy, which sometimes group of 5 teams struggle with, although I don't know if Tulane is in that same boat. But I'm really interested to see the matchup between Trey Harrison and some of those other transfer receivers they brought in against our corners. I talked about Javian White earlier, who, for my money, is the best corner in college football. This guy is so good. But the other sophomore we have is Joker Johnson, which is an awesome name. And he clamped up Andrel Anthony last game. I don't remember Andrel Anthony even having a catch. I actually should probably check that. But who was pretty good for Duke the first 2 matchups. So that's going to be a really fun matchup. We play a lot of man coverage on defense, which you wouldn't think is the route to success against Ole Miss, but it might be. If our corners can cover for 3.5 seconds, I think our pass rush will be able to do some damage. And who knows who's going to play quarterback, right? If it's Simmons, he's shown the propensity to turn the ball over. Tulane actually leads the country in forced turnovers, so that's a good matchup. But if it's Shambles and that guy can run pretty fast, we struggled with South Alabama's Bishop Davenport, who was pretty mobile. So there's a risk there. But look, Lane Kiffin's playing the game. He said that Austin Simmons he anticipates, I think was the word he used, that Austin Simmons starts, but Shambles is probably, he played better than Simmons has all year last game. So we'll see what happens.
Before we let you go on.
I just wanted to ask him a couple more things before we let him go, because I'm curious. Like, if Tulane were to win this game, what went well? Like, what do you need? 4 turnovers? Do you need Jake to go nuts? Pass defense? Like, what is it if you're going to win?
Yeah, we have to limit explosive plays, right? Like, Ole Miss is going to move the ball. I'd rather them have like 8-9 minute drives where they're just dinking their way down the field and limiting the amount of possessions in this game. If we get into a shootout with Ole Miss, we're going to lose. So that's number 1, limit explosive plays. Number 2 is Jake Retzlaff has to run the ball, but our running backs have to show up too. I think if we have 2 guys with over 60 rushing yards, that's a good sign. And then obviously, right, it's like special teams and turnovers are the things that change games. Our special teams has been fantastic through 3 weeks. Duke missed a field goal. They had a bad snap, right? And then a field goal got blocked. So some people will say like, oh, it was a fluke. Maybe Duke should have made that. Like, maybe, but there's a reason why all that stuff happened, right? Crowd noise, pressure, good special teams. So no silly mistakes like that.
The line is 11.5 right now. Ole Miss favored. How are you feeling about your chances? Like, what's the vibe coming from the Tulane fan base right now?
I'm not trying to get clipped here.
Yeah, I won't clip it.
So, I don't know. Look, Ole Miss is a great team, right? It's tough to go into Oxford and come out with a win. They're They're ranked for a reason. They've got some talented players. 11.5 is a lot. You know, there are stretches where Tulane sort of falls asleep. Like the fourth quarter of this Duke game, the first 5-10 minutes of the South Alabama game, and then the few minutes of the game after the game was pretty much all but over. We fall asleep. If we don't fall asleep, right, we've allowed 14 points all season long, aside from those sort of like, the game's probably over, or not taking this team seriously, which they won't do to Ole Miss. This defense is pretty good, and 11.5 points is a lot of points. I like Tulane's chances. I don't think that this Ole Miss team is as good as the one we played in 2023. And then I think this Tulane team is better than the one we played in 2023, especially at the quarterback position, where, Kai Horton, for as good of a locker room guy and as solid of a servant in the program he was, Jake Retzlaff's a much, much better quarterback than Kai Horton was. So, I don't know.
To, to me, as an outsider, and probably I don't know what Sam's thinking, but like I'm taking the points.
Pete, the bet's already been placed.
Okay.
That was placed at 12.5. Okay?
Yeah, I mean,
so
nice,
we are
nice.
That's a way too big of a line. Ole Miss has played 2 one-score games already. It's way too big of a line. My question for you was, the last time I talked to you in person was right before Virginia Tech and Tulane played in the Military Bowl, the esteemed Military Bowl.
That's right.
And it was rainy and it was gross, and Virginia Tech looked like an absolute wagon in the rain. Now Tulane had like 30 guys sitting out or whatever it was. It wasn't that many, but it was Michael Pratt.
It was all their best players.
And the coaching turns over and all that stuff.
We had a few player coaches too that game.
Yeah. I'll tell you the difference between, all right, Tulane is, from after that game, it was Brent Price building it. Tech is bringing everybody back. They're building the program back to what it was a decade ago. And Tulane is starting their rebuild. And here we are a year and a half later, and the two programs could not be in more different places. Did you, like, I don't really even know what my question is from this, to be honest with you.
What the heck happened?
What the heck happened? And it's not as much of like surprise that Tulane did it, or, I mean, quite frankly, surprised that it happened to Virginia Tech. I just think it's kind of crazy that after that game, which is a bowl game and they don't take them for what they are, right? It just shows you how quickly programs can turn on a dime in this day and age, and they can turn up and they can turn down.
If you don't have the alignment that Jack was talking about earlier within the athletic department, president all the way down, this is what happens. And we don't have that at Virginia Tech.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it, right? I think we had Sean King, legendary Tulane quarterback, on the podcast one time, and he said something that was so simple, but it's like really wise. He said, "It is so damn hard to win a football game. Like, the amount of things that could go wrong that can cause you to lose are exponential. And the amount of ways to win a football game are so finite," right? And it's like the magic of doing all those things right multiple times in a row and winning lots of football games is extremely difficult. So if you don't have people who are rowing in the same direction, right? If you got people who are trying to get off the boat or turn left when you're supposed to turn right, or who knows, like one guy can mess up a play and it's a touchdown on defense. So, it's
attention to detail. We went into it a lot last night when we were talking about the Pry firing. Just, there was a severe lack of attention to detail with our last staff, not winning on every margin, all this kind of stuff that adds up to your program going in the direction that Tulane's has. And that's cool for you guys. My father was from New Orleans. I've been down there a lot in my life, and he used to sing this song. I don't know if this is a fight song or a real song, but I just wanted, it's short and I just want to test it out. High above the Mississippi, standing in plain view, there's an old abandoned outhouse known as LSU. Is that a real Tulane song?
If it was a popular song, it was before my time, but I don't.
I like it.
I like it too. I might have to start singing it, especially if we beat Ole Miss and then Ole Miss goes around and beats LSU the next week. That'd be pretty funny.
A transitive property win.
That's
We'll
right.
take it.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, you've been very generous with your time tonight, Jack, and it's good to get a little perspective on what could be a playoff team down the road. And if they take care of business against Ole Miss, or even keep it close, it's going to greatly increase the odds for Tulane to get into the playoffs.
That's rat poison, right? We just got to focus on winning the game. That's
We're
all.
We're gonna go 1-0 this week.
1-0 this week. That's exactly right.
And then we get in the training room. We get ready to go for next week.
And as outsiders, me and Sam will just get to sit back and enjoy while you're wringing your hands. But that's what being a fan's all about.
Appreciate the show.
Oh yes. Thank you for being here, Jack. We'll talk to you again. I'm sure one day again soon. All right, man. Have a good one.
All right.
Thanks, Jack.
Later. Great interview. Great perspective on the Tulane program from Jack. Almost lost him right at the end there.
Right at the end. It is so cool to that's one of the reasons, when I did Behind Enemy Lines 2 years ago, I think it was one of my favorite things of talking to other people who were as passionate about their programs as we are about the Hokies. And you give really cool perspective, and you're going to learn things that you would never, ever know about a team. Even if you're the most diehard college football fan diving into all the national media, you're never going to get detail like that from anywhere else. So I'm big on the green wave. We'll get to it on the playoff picks, but I think they've really, really impressed me so far this year.
Yeah, they have. All right. Well, thank you for the comments. We got an LSU comment in there from Bailey Loves Horses as well as I was singing my song. Let's get to VT Corner, Sam. Everyone's favorite segment in this show. I'm still reeling from the ODU game. I got to tell you, it took a lot out of me, and I'm flabbergasted that 28-0, 31-0 could happen. We had some. This is from Taylor talking about Sam and his Miami.
I'm sorry.
But Dante Lovett in the portal, and this is the first casualty of the Brent Pry firing.
Mm-hmm.
When he was fired, all players basically got the chance to hop in and redshirt for the year and keep their eligibility alive. So I love Dante Lovett. We were very high on him going into the year. He came on our show. His mom has supported the show, seemed like a great Hokie family. So we wish him the best. We really do. This is a tough situation. I don't blame any player for doing what they got to do.
And I would also point out, entering the transfer portal doesn't mean gone forever. They can enter and come back. I think it would actually be wise for a player like that to enter and see where the cookie crumbles. And then you make your decision when you have all the available information. So I think you're going to see a lot of it. Quite frankly, I would not be surprised if how big is it active? I know the scholarship limit's at 105, but if you take your top 60 players on your roster, I would not be surprised if 30 to 35 plus of those top 60 players are in the portal for the Hokies. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, man.
And then you have graduations as an older team in some areas.
I'm very curious how many of the 105 we keep together through the UVA game.
I mean, we're looking at 65 to 70 new players next year. We're looking at a completely different roster.
Well, it was 50 this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that didn't go well. So bring it on.
Hey, Pete, undefeated in ACC play.
Yeah, that's right. So regarding the first half against ODU, was it the most embarrassing, worst first half in Lane Stadium history? Because Duke was only 21-3. Yes.
No, first half, sure. I think you could say first half. I mean, for me, though, it wasn't. I didn't care, to be honest with you. I started laughing. I was laughing at 14-0. Because they didn't care.
Yeah. It feels different because it was so blatant what was going on.
Yeah. If Tech would have lost this game 34-24 or something like that, or even another one possession loss would have been significantly worse for me.
Okay, so in terms of the way you felt, but in terms of school embarrassment, it was circling on the internet. Like as it was going on and it was 21-0, it was 28-0. It's getting posted on, Reddit CFB. It's going around. Every player's commenting on it. Like that was the part. Like embarrassment equals eyeballs while your pants are coming down. And
maybe
there was a lot of eyeballs on us.
That's what needed to happen though. But we've been saying this is like they've never the first year with Brent Pry, it was a roster issue. And I think the national media really understood that. Mm-hmm. This was the first rock bottom because you guys quit that we've maybe ever seen at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And so it needed to happen. I think, news moves quickly. No one's going to care about the Hokies for the rest of the year now. I mean, the coach firing in the midseason is the last piece of national news that you're probably going to hear about the Hokies this year.
Yeah. Max and Cheese asked, WTF happened to the locker room between halftime of USC and halftime of Vandy? It's what we were speculating on last night a little bit. We don't know, but we believe that there was a ripping into potentially that happened that didn't go over well.
The demeanor of the offensive players post South Carolina was really disheartening to me. I didn't see that from the defensive players that came in. We had two defensive players come in post game,
and keep in mind, Sam was there. If you don't know, Sam was in the press box, and then
second row because I thought the first row was a little close. I want to be back a little bit.
But you were at the pressers after South Carolina.
Yeah, and I guess it's public because the people who were out there, like I have videos of them. Like Kamari Copeland was out there and Emmett Laws, and they weren't stoked about the game, but taking it in stride, losing with class. Hey, I thought we did this and this well. I thought we did this and this poorly. We'll get back out to it. Like very cookie cutter after the game player stuff. And I actually came away with that. I immediately texted the group. I was like, I love these two guys. Like even after a loss, like how they handled it. Kyron and Donovan Green, not the same stuff. Not the same stuff. Pry looked pissed, as he should have looked pissed, right? It's right after a big loss and right. Should look pissed a little bit. Was really disappointed in the body language, in the demeanor, in the articulation. Just not things you see from winning well-run programs. You don't see it.
The thing of it is, and we talked a little bit about this last night with the way Pry acts in game and his feel for things. You have to coach guys differently. Kyron talked about it at ACC Media Days when he was like, yeah, if you're a leader on a team, some guys can take the criticism, some can't. Some guys you got to, take under your wing more. And it's the same thing with coaches. Like you need to know your players and how they're going to respond to certain coaching, hard coaching, a little bit, more pat on the back coaching, whatever it is. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it because he lost the entire locker room between USC, the end of Vandy, ODU, whatever. Like he lost the locker room. It was blatantly obvious.
Yeah. I also, I don't know if this plays to it, but the defensive rotation has been a red flag to me.
Oh, we're going to talk about red flags, but that's a red flag you saw in the season.
I've seen that in the season. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I've got a question from Crystal Collier here. How do we feel that he was fired early enough in the season to allow players to enter the portal and redshirt? Like,
clearly, none of these players are good enough that it matters.
I think some of these players are good. Like I think that these players are playing far below their potential the last 2 weeks, but there's a lot of good talent on the roster. But when it's going this bad, it just doesn't matter. Like you cannot let that man coach another game. We could not. We had no choice. Absolutely none. And so if you lose guys who decided they want to lay down, who had your university's colors on and decided to lay down, that's fine. Let them go.
Yeah.
Like, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to, in this day and age, if they don't want to be here, they're going to leave. And so I don't really know. I think the timing thing has been blown out, like not blown out of proportion, but to me, it doesn't really matter. I know it's a rule, but I don't think in practice it really matters. But I do. I understand it. Like a lot of people thought this is why they would wait until the bye week, but the late bye week kind of forces your hand. Like, what are you going to do? Do this before you travel to Raleigh to play a night game in Carter Finley?
Mm-hmm.
that's a disaster. That's going to be, you're going to lose that game 45-0 if you do that. So you kind of needed to give them at least a week of preparation to figure something out.
And you get to go up against Wofford, which at the very least, like, even if you don't play good, like, you'll have opportunities to like test things out a little bit. I'm not saying we're going to whip Wofford. I'm just saying, like, we're not facing Clemson this week, thank God, or someone of that ilk.
I mean, you're playing like what, the 2, 3, 4th, 5th best team in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah, hey, I'll go for that. And the thing about the guys leaving or redshirting and decided to leave, like, you just better hope that naming Monty the interim coach, that he's got to recruit the roster. Like, he's got to tell guys, like, we're going to do something this year. Like, we're going to put something together, and it's going to be better than it's been. And you're going to make yourself and your parents and the fans proud. That's what we're going to do. And he has to do that. I don't know if he can do that.
Earn yourself, put something out on tape, earn yourself some money.
Yeah.
Some of you guys got one more year of college left, maybe 2. Put something on film and go out and earn a bag. If you want to do it here, you want to do it somewhere else, you got to figure it out. But like, sitting and sulking is going to, like if a player just kind of sits and sulks for the rest of this season, they're basically damning their entire football career. You don't have that many opportunities.
And guys who have already redshirted, they don't really have a choice either. Like a guy like Kyron, like he likes Monty.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people are probably like, we don't need Kyron anymore. I don't want him to play.
Oh.
I still think a motivated Kyron and a motivated team would be decent. I wouldn't mind seeing Wrangle or Pop. Like, I wanted to see one of those guys when we were down 21-0, 14-0.
Yeah,
I thought we needed a spark.
I'm thinking about guys like, Thomas Williams, Quentin Reddish, Kyle Altuner on the offensive line.
The young, talented guys, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are guys who you're looking at saying, like, okay, how do we keep these guys involved and at Virginia Tech? Like, see if you can, even a handful of those players.
Yeah, you got to keep some of them, and you want to keep the ones that had promise, and the ones you named do. I think your point about putting something on tape, raising your value. I mean, you're not going to, if you leave, you're not getting on the field for a year, and you might transfer somewhere where there's someone in front of you. Like, this is your best opportunity to play football and put something good on tape. You're here. This team is not that great. The opportunity to start is right there in front of you.
Yeah. And it's not, even if players stay here, like, there are a handful of players who are starting on this team that I don't think there's a shot that they start next year with new staff. I don't think there's a shot for some of these guys to start next year after what they've put on film so far. I mean, you've looked at the offensive numbers that Vanderbilt and Old Dominion put up on Virginia Tech at home at night are historically big. Yeah. And I don't think, like, a new coach isn't coming in here and being like, yeah, let me roll with those 2 linebackers again. It's not happening.
Yeah. Byron makes a good point here. Keeping players who are checked out in the locker room is worse. Yeah. Purge that negativity and move forward as best you can with the
we do have to field a team. That is important.
Yeah, we do. And I think we will. I mean, the fact
we will field a team. Let's go, boys.
Have you seen any other entries today besides Lovett?
No.
Okay. I'm shocked there's not more. To be honest,
I am too.
I'm shocked there's not more. And I feel like that's a good sign. There's more. I'm sure there's more to come. I am sure of it. But for right now, I will take it.
Last little bit on the Hokie, on this part of the Hokies. There is media availability every Tuesday. It will start out with Whit Babcock, and then it will move to Phil Montgomery. We are expecting some sort of announcement from Whit Babcock that will not be a classic, we had to go in a different direction press conference. I don't know exactly what they'll say, but yeah.
We dropped to 84th at SP Plus, Sam. I think we were preseason like 30, 31, something like that.
Pete, that means we're better than like 250 other college football programs.
You mean at like the D2 level?
Yeah, but just you have to change your perspective on things.
We wanted to discuss red flags, and then we're going to discuss something positive, believe it or not. Red flags, Sam, that we may have overlooked in the winter and the summer that made what happened this year possible? Do you have anything that's like
this
you think
winter, like this off season?
Yeah, this off season.
For me, it was failing to remove Tyler Bowen was pretty shocking. And to me, looking back, it really proves the point that I don't think Virginia Tech was in a space where they thought that they could hire anybody else.
Because Tyler Bowen left of his own volition is what Sam is saying. He's gone, yes, but it's because he was hired away by Ohio State, not because Pride decided to fire him, which was very warranted.
On a macro level of the program, like that might be my 1-1.
Okay. And we talked about that when we went over Bowen leaving. We're like, oh, he didn't even fire him. Like it was, whatever. That's a good one. I would say the length of time it took for us to find a DC.
Same story, different chapter.
Yep. Same thing. So similar red flags there. What else do you have?
I don't think this team looked particularly good in spring. And then we saw them in fall camp, and the first couple weeks looked good. And this is from people who were like at practices. The first couple weeks looked good. And then the last 2 weeks did not look good.
I mean,
we saw videos online, but we also heard it from multiple different people at practice. Like, it does feel like this maybe started in fall camp at some time. I don't know if this started after South Carolina, because the drop off in practice report positivity started at like mid-August.
Yeah, and I would say you're right. I mean, the spring practice sessions, there's a lot of injuries, which happen every year. And everyone's like, it's spring, doesn't matter. Neither of our top 2 quarterbacks took a snap in the spring game. That to me, one, it didn't make for a very fun spring game. and for another, it was just like, oh, okay, well then this is all meaningless.
Spring did feel meaningless. Spring felt like glorified weightlifting session.
Yeah.
To me.
And maybe that's what it is at every school, but like I would have liked to see a little bit more competition.
I mean, they were trying to install a new defense and a new offense, and they didn't have any players there. You legally don't have that much coaching time in college football. It is very, very limited. So installing new schemes on both sides of the ball, basically in 3.5 weeks before you start game prep for South Carolina, and Virginia Tech started game prep for Vanderbilt early, which didn't do jack shit. But like you're actually looking at maybe Kyron Drones got one-on-one coaching with Phil Montgomery for maybe 4 weeks
when he was out of
the season started.
Because he was in a movie too.
4 weeks total. And of those 4 weeks, I think that's a total of like, I don't know, 20 practices.
But we were hearing like the lip service from the coaches. I agree with you on the spring point. When it came to like summer and fall, like there was good vibes. Like there was a lot of like positive commentary on how Kyron looked and the defensive line and all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I thought you looked at the defensive line. That was totally true against South Carolina. Yeah. And it was true for the first little bit against Vanderbilt. I think it was true until they gave up. All right. They started rotating in third stringers.
Let's get the obvious red flag out in the open. Your team captain getting a DUI a week before the game.
That's pretty tough.
That's a major red flag that we all were kind of like, guys make mistakes, like he should still play. We to be clear, we did not say he should still play. We said it's up to the coaches. and they let him play.
Clearly has not been in it this year. It hasn't looked good from him at any point.
And you know why? Game. Because he's
got
factually driving drunk a week before the first game against.
He's got 2 court cases coming up. Got 2. Yeah.
So that was a red flag that I don't think we swept it under the rug. We talked about it, but it was.
I didn't think we would think it would matter on the field this much. I think that's fair.
When we've talked to Billy Ray and any other former player we came across in the past few weeks, they thought that was absurd that there would be a captain driving drunk. They thought it was insane.
Yeah. In a walkable
not a college football player, a captain college football player.
Yep.
Who's supposed to be a leader. And then my last red flag, Sam, you kind of said this with some of the commentary from the coaches. Matt Moore's final media availability before the season. Do you remember that one?
Refresh me on what exactly
he
you're
was
talking
basically
about.
being asked about how the offensive line's looking, and there
Oh,
wasn't like a
yeah.
positive thing that came out
Yeah.
of his mouth.
Yeah, that was the reason I went from 8 wins to 7 wins.
Exactly. You lowered your win total.
And it was stuff that we heard from our boots on the ground, other pairs of boots on the ground, like people who have been around football for a few years now with this program, this Pride tenure, who didn't like it. If we want to go more macro red flags, first year there, like Billy Ray was at practices, he was like, the balls are on the ground everywhere. People are walking around to different drills. Anybody who plays sports knows, like, a good coach, ball doesn't hit the ground. Balls aren't rolling around all over the place. You don't walk between drills. You don't do any of that stuff. And there was a lot of that. I think they didn't know really how to run practice cohesively. And I think that led to a lot of the issues. And then I think there was just a lot more effort put on building the lunch pail, gritty, blue collar Virginia Tech brand, and maybe not enough worry on the actual talent on the field. I just don't. I never felt like those two efforts really matched up.
Well, we've harped on so many bad things, so many bad moments and events that led to the 0-3 start. But now that Pry is gone, what about the best moments of the last 3 years? Need a little positivity here, Sam, at the end of VT Corner.
I would say like those night games against Pitt and Syracuse, electric. I mean, quintessential Virginia Tech football right there. The Thursday night game against Boston, like there were moments in Lane Stadium at night that did harp to the good old days.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes the two losses we just saw so disheartening. But
because they were both in Lane at night.
Yeah, but you did see it for a bit there. You did.
Yeah, the Syracuse game where APR had those 4 sacks, and the Pitt game where it was Kyron's coming out party, he had 5 touchdowns. So cool. Byron puts one in the chat here. The snowball fight on the drill field. Was that when Pry was out there, I guess? Like
that was it.
Messing around with the students. Yeah, I mean, an example of his PR, but nevertheless a bright spot. A nice
and I'm not saying like, oh, he shouldn't do that. All I'm saying was like, they didn't know how bad that first roster was. They had no idea.
The BC games, like we went 3-0 against BC, which is, hey, it's something. And that was Pry's first win. I mean, it was the second game of that season.
He bounced back. The bounce back after that ODU game was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Another night game at Lane.
It was. And then the one in Boston where we just smashed them. Like we weren't playing well on the road. We go up to Boston. That might be Pry's best win against the best team over his tenure. Like it's not that BC was crazy good, but Castellanos was playing well. We didn't know if we were going to get that win. We didn't know how we'd show up on the road. And we just went up there and beat their ass. And it was so satisfying. Me and you did a live stream for that game.
It was great. I mean, I think the Tulane Bowl game, just showing that you wanted to go out and win that game, no matter what was happening on the Tulane sideline, that was great.
There's one we have to mention.
Win at Liberty. That was a top 25 win on the road, technically.
I'm talking about the double nickel against UVA.
That's pretty sick.
I mean, come on.
The last 2 games against UVA, absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant.
He didn't lose to UVA. Let's give Pry credit for that.
If I were to tell you at this point, if we were to go back and be like, hey, Brent Pry, he's going to have a dominant bowl win over. He's going to have night wins against Pitt, Syracuse, Boston College. He's going to go undefeated against Boston College. He's going to go undefeated against UVA. How would you be feeling?
I'd probably be like, what about Miami?
And you know what, dude? Give them credit.
The Miami game was awesome.
Infinitely more talented.
We should have won the
Tech
game
last year. We stuck with them. Like
we should have won the game.
It really wasn't about those mediocre games, like the middle of the road games. Nailed them. It was the big games and the not so big games.
And this one says, last year's UVA game at Lane was fun as F. And
It
it
was
was
fun. It
and
was
that
fun,
was the
dude.
Pop Watson just throwing bombs to Jalen Lane, running into the end zone, doing the money thing. Like, that was a
Tune
blast
went
as
off on
well.
that game.
Another
too.
night game at
Defense
Lane,
was
right?
great. Yeah. It's just, and that's what makes this so, I think, frustrating is because you saw the moments. You really did see the moments, but this sport, you play 12 games a year and you can't have 6 good ones.
No.
It's not going to work out.
I mean, our team has been poorly coached for 3 years. I said it in year one, even though everyone is ragging on the talent. Oh, the talent's not good. And the talent wasn't good. I get that. But we were better than a 3-win team that first season.
Yeah.
And we lost 2 1-point games.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's going to do it for VT Corner tonight. Sam and I will probably be recording on Wednesday our normal show. We're figuring out how we want to handle that.
TBD. TBD.
Yeah.
If anybody is like, hey, you guys should really talk about
Yeah.
We'll
But
go for it.
Go ahead and also put your favorite moments from the last 3 years in the comments on YouTube, in the comments on Spotify. That would help us out and be fun. Just see what people think was their favorite moment. Sam, are you drinking a beer?
I am drinking a beer. I
that you're
have want to
having.
talk about this. This is a dark, scary beer, and it's a really, really special one. It's actually a limited release from one of the best breweries in North America, the Nosferatu Double Red IPA from Great Lakes Brewing in Cleveland, Ohio. This can is so sick. It's red, shades of red and black with Nosferatu on it. It is a limited edition for the movie Nosferatu. If you're a horror fan, it is phenomenal. Watch it. Really, really good movie. This beer is delicious. It is difficult to drink. It's tough. It's like drinking it. It gives you the same sensation of drinking a good whiskey where you really like it, but you got to take little sips. It is maroon in color pretty much. I don't know if it's going to look how it looks in the ring light, but
it looks brown. Like it looks black.
Brown.
Almost.
It's reddish brown. It's very dark. It is a double IPA, 8%, 70 IBU. It is a big boy. They describe it as sink your teeth into a rich, roasty, red double IPA with a frightfully delectable hoppy bite. I don't know if you can I got this at a Total Wine in Virginia. Great Lakes does distribute pretty well, so you might be able to find this still before Halloween. If you collect cans, this is a really sick can, and it's a very, very good beer. This is like a 4.25.
Oh,
this is a very good beer.
The double red IPA?
The Nosferatu Double Red IPA.
Okay, I'm going to put your ranking down here because I was just looking it up to make sure I had the right beer. It's a 3.8. Friends of the show have it at a 3.86, and you're going higher despite that.
I'm going higher.
That strong, like, is it like a bourbon barrel strength or like what kind of like?
No, it doesn't have the bite that bourbon barrel strength has. It's really hoppy. It is just. I'm trying to like it. It's kind of like the way that a stout is kind of.
I got you.
Tough, yeah. It doesn't have the bite that the bourbon.
You're not going to be
does,
chugging it.
No. But it's fun. It's kind of whimsical. Yeah,
I like it, man.
That is fun too.
I'm drinking water tonight, so we will move on to playable games. We have to talk about Vandy. Games. We have to talk about Vandy in South Carolina real quick because
we do.
We played these two teams. They both beat us. Vandy whipped our ass in the second half. They went into Williams-Brice and beat down South Carolina 31-7. It was 7-7 after 10 minutes, and the Gamecocks never did another thing. Vandy wasn't exactly like lighting it up, but they just consistently scored like every quarter. The defense was really good, and South Carolina kind of unraveled, Sam. I mean, you had Sellers going out of the game in the second quarter because he got hit in the head, but they had 4 turnovers. Stewart got ejected, a bunch of costly penalties. The backup quarterback couldn't do a damn thing. Shane kind of had his sideline antics going, as he will when he loses. And just like our game against Vandy, they kind of owned the line of scrimmage in this one.
I can't believe that Vanderbilt just went on the road to Lane Stadium and then on the road to Williams-Brice, both games at night, and got convincing wins. That doesn't sound right, but it is right. And you're looking at a Vanderbilt team right now that the issues they had last year, they seem to have corrected. And I don't really know if they got that much talented. They just developed the crap out of their defensive backs.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's like, it's just shocking. Like their ability to defensively, they're not locked down, but they're just really hard to score on. It's like they'll give you 2 or 3 first downs, but that's it. Like it's very much a bend, don't break defense. And offensively, Diego Pavia is gotta be top 5 Heisman right now.
He's that dude, man.
I mean, it is. I mean, they have. It's insane. It's insane.
Comment. But can they beat Georgia State, who got them last year?
Here's the thing. We saw this last year. There is a possibility that they have just played 2 teams who can't defend an option.
I mean, Tech and South Carolina might just be really bad.
Like there is that possibility because if they last year when they ran into teams who could do it, they stuffed them.
Yeah.
And so
I don't think South Carolina is a very good team, if I'm being honest. I mean, we said that over the summer. We said this team is so beatable. They're replacing so much. I'm not sure Sellers is what the media thinks he is.
Mhm.
And I'll be damned if that's not what Vanderbilt just did to them. That's what we should have been able to do to them. But sadly, we were too shitty to expose it. I mean, they are just not very good. Like South Carolina had a fantastic year last year. It was a one-off. Beamer wasn't the favorite son 2 years ago in Columbia. And now this was an ugly loss. This was a really ugly loss, which looked like an undisciplined team.
They play at Mizzou next week. That's not a fun place to go play if you're not feeling good.
They're going to lose that.
I mean, Columbia, Maryland, Jesus, Columbia, Missouri, one of the more underrated home field advantages in college football. And that's a damn good team. And Bo Prabula, he's not Diego Pavia, but he's got a lot of those vibes to his game. I haven't done all of my research for the lines yet, but Mizzou winning that game, Mizzou might win this game handily. If South Carolina's mindset isn't there, they're in some trouble.
I mean, even if Sellers didn't get knocked out of the game, they're not winning this one.
No, I don't think their defense is there right now.
But I'm saying about the Vandy game. Like if Sellers didn't go out, I think Vandy.
I don't think they can get stops.
Yeah.
And Virginia Tech is the team that stopped. And Virginia Tech moved the ball on them. They just couldn't score.
And Theo Vaughn's going to go out with Pavia's mom.
And Pavia's trying to go out with Tate McRae.
Hey, he should milk it for all it's worth right now, man.
Hey, man, shoot for the stars, buddy. She looks good on that tour. I've seen enough Instagram stories and Snapchat stories that I feel like I've been to the concert. So.
Before we get to the LSU game, I just want to say this comment from Byron. I need that beer in my life right now.
I purposely saved the darkest, scariest, most delectable beer for tonight.
And Max and Cheese. I think y'all should do more beer reviews for Wednesday shows. It's going to be a long season.
Pete, what if we just got hammered on you?
Just get hammered every week. All right. LSU intercepts Lagway 5 times, beats Florida 20-10. You want to talk about overrated? Let's talk about DJ Lagway and the Gators.
Okay, you do that side of the story, then I'll do the LSU side of the story. You go first.
How do you throw 5 interceptions? I mean, they were in that game. And the quarterback just kept throwing it away. And at one point, Napier just pulled him over to the side and was just he was this close to his face, chatting with him. And if that's how you want to call it. And it's just he's got to just be you've got to be kidding me. You're 5 interceptions and we're going to lose by 10 in Death Valley. It's Florida is in for a long season, man.
Flip side of it, LSU. You get 5 interceptions and you only win by 10? Nuss bus. The Loch Ness Monster.
He's hurt. Did you hear about the torso injury?
Dude, if you're LSU, if you get 5 turnovers, you need to be winning that game by 30. You need to be winning it by 20. 10? I think both of these teams are kind of showing me issues. I think LSU, you won the game. Florida's a talented team. Congratulations.
Florida's got a good defense.
Yes. I Like LSU's offense scored 17 against Clemson, scored 20 against Florida. And I know those are two pretty good defenses. But if you're looking at this team as a team who compete for the national title, those are the quality defenses you're going to be playing. And you're only going to give me 17 points and only going to give me 20 points, and you're winning the turnover battle in both of those games. That's a little worrying for me as we get to some of these big games down the line for the Tigers.
All right. Do you know how many first downs the LSU had in this game?
Without looking?
Without looking.
I mean, yes, because I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. It's 10.
Yeah.
You know how many first downs Florida had? 23.
Yeah.
Florida outgained them way further in first downs. And they shot themselves in the foot. Florida should have won the game. Like, if they don't completely melt down because of Lagway, they win the game.
14 of those first downs created for Florida were on first or second down. So Florida was even avoiding third down in this game. Like, they were moving the ball, man.
Yeah. LSU was lucky that Lagway was so bad because the slightly better team wins that game. And Clemson, that win doesn't look nearly as good as it did 2 weeks ago. It's still an SEC win. You know, Brian Kelly's getting asked about the offense in the post game. He really didn't like it. A little bit of an immature response there. I kind of get where he's coming from, but I kind of think he's an asshole. So it's LSU might not be that good. They just really might not be
I'm coming away from this weekend. We'll find out about the Big 12 next week. Texas Tech plays at Utah. Texas A&M comes out as a big winner. Georgia comes out as a big winner. Miami comes out as a big winner.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your teams right now that I'm looking at like, oof, you've shown me something this year.
For sure. Because you have your Penn States and your Ohio States.
Ohio State, Penn State, you're good.
But Penn State still has yet to
play anybody.
Really play a team, but they've been doing fine. Mateer was awesome against Temple. The game I attended, 42-3, the Sooners won. I did take Temple plus 24.5, as I discussed. And I'll tell you, Sam, if they had gotten home on a couple of sacks early and not given up 3rd and 19, Temple was defensively really pressuring Mateer in this game. And he was Houdiniing himself.
That's what he does.
All over the field and then throwing the ball with like 0 feet being planted. At one point, he was fully in the air like Air Jordan. Bullet pass, perfect placement. Like, the guy is unbelievable.
Johnny Oklahoma.
And
he is special. And he's kind of one of those players too, where it does seem like the other players around him could be having an off day and he can make up for it.
So I come away insanely impressed watching Mateer in person, but also I'm worried about their offensive line. I'm worried about the line in Oklahoma. Now the defense, oh my God, they suffocated Temple. I mean, absolutely suffocated them. I think the only reason Temple scored was because they got a pick where the receiver and the DB collided and Temple's guy fell back with it. And then they kicked a field goal. That's the only way. Temple could not do a thing. That OU defense is so good. And I want to say about Temple, like, they have sucked. But going up to Philly, it's a very sleepy place. I thought that would be a dangerous spot. Like, Tech had their problems in Philly many times when we were a top 25 team. That was a solid to great performance by Mateer in Oklahoma against a very well-coached Temple team in Casey Keeler. It's his third game, but he's a good coach. He's won 2 national championships. He's been in the game a long time. He knows the Temple region really well, and he will have them fighting in the American at some point. But great win by Mateer, and maybe not great win, but it was a good job by them to go up there and handle their business. Bama smashed Wisconsin 38-14. Simpson has been so good since the Florida State game.
We might look back at that game in like 3-4, maybe it's going to be like 5 weeks and be like, gosh, remember when we thought Florida State was better than Alabama? Like, what a fluke that game was. Just be ready for that storyline. Well, Florida State hadn't really been tested after that game. Bama's dominating everybody. They scored 105 points combined in their last 2 games.
I mean, Mateer,
they're almost at a point a minute.
Simpson has only missed 5 out of 45 passes, 46 passes. He's like 40 of 45 the last 2 games. He had 382 and 4 touchdowns in this one against Wisconsin. Ryan Williams, 5 receptions, 165, 2 TDs. Ho hum. Texas kind of struggled with UTEP, Sam.
UTEP's a good team, man. I'll tell you, like UTEP's defense flies around. They can control the ball on offense a bit. Obviously, Texas was going to win this game. Arch Manning looks like he's, in like PE class in high school, when it was very obvious the kid who was trying too hard, and it was like, oh, you don't actually look cool right now. You kind of look like a loser because you're trying so hard in this dodgeball game. Arch Manning kind of looks like a kid trying too hard in PE class right now, and it's not working. Like, it's not exuding confidence.
Dude, 114 yards, 11 of 25.
Yeah.
129 passer rating on the year, a sub 50 QBR. Him and Drones and QBR, I said this in the chat today, they're 1 point apart. Him and Kyron Drones.
He's forcing throws that are just not there. And I'm like, dude, you're huge and you're super fast. Just run forward. No one can tackle you. Like, he is trying to be a Manning.
I don't think
he's
good.
And it's not. Like, you gotta just be your own guy. Have you seen his high school highlights?
I mean, I saw him at one point, sure.
He played at a really low level of private school in Louisiana. Are we a little worried that, like,
yes,
he's not, it's not that he doesn't have the ability, but when he gets out into a game, like, he's not used to playing grown men. Because the games he played last year was against,
as the Warby Parker commercial says, he looks like an accountant.
He played against a bad Mississippi State team, a bad Louisiana Monroe team, and like, those were his games. And now he's playing Ohio State. Didn't look great.
I mean,
obviously
he's playing the juggernaut of UTEP, Sam, and he's throwing for 114 yards.
Look, we're not going to take UTEP slander on the timeline. I mean, UTEP covered the spread in Austin. Let's give the Miners some respect.
Best QBRs of the weekend. I've got the top 3 here. Josh Hoover, number 1.
Yep.
Underwood from Michigan, number 2 in best QBRs of the weekend. And number 3, none other than Colton Joseph of ODU, number 3 QBR in the country.
He's never made throws that good in his life. Ever.
Dude, Ronnie can do that. He does that to us. He gets.
And he's also going to lose to Southern Miss by 4 touchdowns.
They're going to go.
That's how it goes. Yeah, that's how it's going to go.
I mean, that's what they're going to do. But when they play Tech, Ronnie can fire him up beyond all recognition. And Colton Joseph, hat tip, man, number 3 in QBR on the weekend. ACC notes: NC State came back to beat Wake on Thursday. That really burned me up because I had Wake plus 7.5, and NC State won by 10 despite being down 14. And CJ Bailey's good, man. He's a good player.
He is. I think NC State has some clear issues on the line of scrimmage for me, but Bailey does seem to be getting better and better each week.
UVA thumped William & Mary 55-16. Not always a given, but this year seems like UVA is going to beat the bad teams, and they did it handedly.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt dropped the backyard brawl after having a late lead. Just blew it. They lose to a team that just lost to Ohio.
What a bad loss. And that was, I went back and watched the condensed game of that. Just Pitt's inability to just run the ball for a few minutes. Like, they couldn't do it. It was really troubling for me. Like, I don't think West Virginia is a very good team. I think Pitt might be bad.
And Pitt was Ty Hildenbrand picked them to finish second in the ACC. Somebody else did too.
It was towards the end of the third quarter against Central Michigan, they were only up 7.
Yeah, no, they're Pitt. I never thought they were going to be good this year.
I'm just that for losing that game.
Eli
in
Holstein,
that fashion,
did you see how he finished the season last year?
Horribly.
Yes. They lost their last 6 games. He was terrible. Like, I don't know why anyone was high on Pitt.
I don't know.
UNC took care of Richmond, whatever. Cal, show the shirt, Sam. They had no problem with Minnesota. If in reality, like, I was watching some of that game before I fell asleep, and Minnesota couldn't do anything. One of the most surprising stories in the country are those Golden Bears.
I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on it. But I will say, I think they might have upgraded at quarterback.
Fernando was awesome this weekend.
He was, but I think
They played
what
Indiana
they are,
State. They played Indiana State, but he was awesome.
I think they have. Now, the issue for Cal is going to be when they get like 1 or 2 injuries.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be their issue.
But Sagapulotele has been a revelation, to your point.
He has. They're looking good.
Stanford beat BC 30-20. BC, you know what I blame this on? The Michigan State game and then having to go across the country even farther the next week. I mean, there's no reason BC should be losing this game. They have a decent quarterback. They had 3 turnovers in the game. Stanford ran for nearly 6 yards a carry on them.
That running back for Stanford's pretty good. BC is not a very good defensive team yet again. They were bad last year. I think they're bad again this year. But this is the second consecutive game on the road that Boston College has lost while having a higher success rate than the opposing team. So
that's not good, dude.
But what that tells me is they are not creating explosive plays. They're giving up explosive plays, like 6 yards per rush. And it's just kind of an inability to exploit matchups. So
they were good enough to win that Michigan State game.
They're going to be fine.
Right
they're going to win a few games in the ACC, but defensively, this is not a good team.
No. And wrapping up the ACC thoughts, the Duke team that we were talking about against Tulane, they are sloppy, man. That Duke team makes a lot of mistakes. They had a lot of penalties again, turn the ball over. They just shoot themselves in the foot. They did it in the entire Illinois game.
I do wonder if this is like a little regression to the mean from last year where it's like nothing could go wrong for them.
Well, do you remember the SMU game?
I do.
I mean, Manny D has we're seeing some of the stuff that he did with Miami.
They had it. But they're such a capitalize on the other team's mistakes type thing. If that other team isn't making those mistakes, how much do you start pressing? Right?
Mens has thrown for 300 yards 2 games in a row, 2 losses.
Well, he threw 60 times last week.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, that Duke team's got.
It's weird. It's a little weird.
I don't know if they might not hit the over that me, Billy, and Colby locked up Duke over. I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
They've already had the 2 losses. So, All right, stock up, stock down teams. Give me your stock up teams, Sam.
Miami. I think Miami, Texas A&M. Both of those teams, for me, have elevated themselves up into the national champion conversation with Georgia, Ohio State, etc. And then my other stock up is the team we just talked about, Cal. Nobody else in the ACC looks that good.
On my list.
You have a win on the road. I mean, gosh, Oregon State's bad, but Corvallis isn't an easy place to play, and you win that game on opening night. You get a win against what I think is going to be a good Minnesota team.
They've got good coaches. Winning. Brian Harsin and Justin Wilcox are good coaches. They really are.
I mean, they are. We'll see. But for me, it's a late night game. It was one of these that all the college football sickos were pay attention, pay attention. Here it is. And we talked enough Tulane. But you're probably going to have Tulane on your list.
I got Stanford. I gotta shout them out, stock up for getting a win because I didn't think that was going to happen for a while. A&M, stock up. I did not think they were a playoff team. They're in my playoffs this time. They're in my playoffs tonight. Vandy, I thought Vandy was okay. And I thought we kind of just laid down. What they did to South Carolina was impressive. Very, very impressive. And so Vandy's stock up team. Stock down, I'll start Clemson. That's an easy one.
That's a pretty easy
one. And
I'd
I'd say South Carolina too. The whole state of South Carolina, stock down.
South Carolina, stock down. South Carolina was on my list. You took Clemson. I'm going to take Texas. Not looking like a national title team. You got the wins, but there are some issues you got to work through, and they have an easier strength of schedule, but that Oklahoma game comes up quick.
And they got to play A&M at the end of the year.
They got to play A&M at the end of the year. They got to go to Georgia. 9-3 is really in the cards for Texas, and if they go 9-3 in this schedule, they're not going to sniff the playoff.
No. Stock down Duke, team we just talked about.
Fair.
Pitt.
Yep.
And Virginia Tech, of course.
Virginia Tech isn't even I think they lost their status on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah. They're
completely defunct, bankrupt, taken over by the government, maybe. I don't know, man. Oof. Enron. Enron had a better ending than the Brent Pry era at Virginia Tech. I mean, this is
Lehman
pathetic.
Brothers? Are we Lehman Brothers?
Never that rich.
All right. Here's my playoffs. We'll let Sam go second this time around. In the SEC, a little bit of a shakeup. I took Texas out. Sam said stock down. I agree. Texas is out. I nearly dropped LSU out, but I'm leaving them in because they have the win over Clemson. They have a SEC win. No, the offense doesn't look good. Yes, Nussmeier has injuries, but I have to leave him in there because I'm not sure I want to put any other SEC teams in there besides Georgia, who's also still in there after a big win. A&M, they have moved into mine. Sam has had them in his throughout the season. I move A&M in because with Texas out, and who's the other one I had? Oh, yeah, that's it. I just moved Texas out because I'm leaving Tennessee in because I thought without their starting two corners, they should have beat Georgia. They could have beat Georgia. And I don't feel confident in Ole Miss. I don't feel confident in Bama. They have a tough schedule. They already have a loss. Arch Manning doesn't look good. Mizzou, I just don't trust. Now, Mizzou is one of these teams. If they get a couple wins in the SEC, you might see them in here because they have a very manageable slate. And OU, who I do like a lot, it's all about the schedule. And now a little bit of the O-line is creeping in for me.
I think both of us have like these top 4 SEC teams that are in our eye, and then like the next 4 could replace that 4 at any moment.
It's true. It's true. In the Big Ten, I'm still Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. I'm watching you, Illinois, and I'm watching you, USC. USC did get ranked this past week. My big surprise. I have 3 ACC teams in. Now, this may sound ridiculous because the ACC did not have a good weekend this past weekend. We, of course, got our butts kicked. There were a couple other losses around the, interconference games, such as Pitt, that didn't go our way. However, with the big win over Clemson, the overwhelming ACC favorite coming into the year, I have Georgia Tech in my playoff. I have Florida State in my playoff, who owns a win over Alabama, who has looked really good since then. And Miami has 2 very good wins. And if you look at the rest of Georgia Tech's schedule, it's a bunch of crap. And Georgia at the end of the year, they could easily win 10 games.
Oh, yeah.
They may not, but they could go 11-1. Hell, they almost beat Georgia last year. Maybe they could beat Georgia. Like, I think all 3 of these ACC teams can win 11 or more games. And if they do that, they're probably all 3 going to get in.
Yeah, it is possible. I think you need Clemson to be good the rest of the year, though, for Georgia Tech. And I think you need Florida State, and Florida State's got to handle their business. And I think Notre Dame and South Florida, if they start, if they end the season well, Miami could have a really, really impressive resume. So I think the ACC kind of needs the chips to fall correctly, kind of like it did last year to get 2 teams in with SMU and Clemson. But there's a path. There was a path last year, and there's a path this year.
The only matchup for those 3 teams is Miami against Florida State in a couple weeks. Georgia Tech doesn't play either of those 2 teams, or Louisville or SMU. And so it's set up where like the lose, like you almost want Florida State to beat Miami for ACC purposes because Florida State. Wait.
Yeah, no, you're right because Miami has the resume already.
Yeah. But Florida State's got Bama too, so but they both need to beat Florida. Both of those teams have Florida. Florida's not going to be an easy win, and Miami has them this weekend. So that's where I went a little nuts. I know it's a little nuts. I left one team in the Big 12 with Utah, and I'm leaving Memphis the same because they host Tulane. I'm actually not sure if they even play Tulane. They host USF. I think they host both of those teams, to be honest with you. I think that's why I left them in there. Yes, they get Tulane at home in November, and Tulane has to play Ole Miss, which will, if they were to lose, would hurt their at-large. Anyway, I'm leaving Memphis. Let's get to Sam's picks.
All right, we got it. So my SEC teams, I'm sticking with Texas. They are winning. I think they're a much, much better team than they've played this year. LSU, I'm keeping you in there because you won, and I think you're a much better team than what you've played this year, and you're winning. Georgia, you're in there. Texas A&M, I've been riding with the Aggies this year. I do think they have a really special line of scrimmage to combine with all that skill talent. The Big Ten, Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, they're all great. ACC, I have Miami, and I have Georgia Tech. I think seeing 2 11-win teams in the ACC title game is not out of the question.
No, it's not.
And I think you really could have it. And I also want to point out Virginia Tech. We talk about, they don't play a tough strength of schedule. They don't play anybody. Well, Vanderbilt looks pretty damn good. South Carolina is going to end the season as a good team. And the 8 teams that Virginia Tech has left on the ACC schedule are a combined 20-2 right now.
Yes,
with tons of top 25 wins.
Oh god, we can affect the ACC race. We play both of these teams.
Yeah, why not? Why not us, Pete? Why not us for in somebody's season for once? In the Big 12, I'm sick with my 2, Texas Tech, Utah. Those 2 teams play in Salt Lake City at noon, which is a disgrace to college football, and it's a disgrace on Fox. Big noon kickoff is a disease. Those 2 teams are really good. I think you will see a
awesome game.
Yeah, I think you will see a rematch in the Big 12 title game, and I'm moving to Tulane. I think this game against Ole Miss is a bit of a throwaway game. I think USF, I like them. We have seen this before with USF where they look really good for spurts and then they look not so good for spurts. Right now, I like the consistency of what I'm seeing from Red Sloth and Tulane, so I'm going with the Green Wave.
Sorry, Sam. What we need to say about our playoffs is neither of us have Notre Dame. I had them last week. I think you might have been out for you.
I've been out all year on them.
With 2 losses and no margin for error the rest of the season. And as Sam went through earlier in the show, there's some dangerous games on there. And they got to play USC, right? Like there is no margin for error. So I had to take them out. Like you can't – the only option for Notre Dame to get in the playoffs is to run the table. And
even then you're at a maybe.
Yeah, there's not a lock because they don't play in a conference. And so I just think at 10-2 they would get in. But I don't at this point, 10-2 just seems very unlikely, despite me thinking they're a very good team. I think they are a good team. They had 2 early tough matchups. They lost them both. They play Boise. They play USC. They play NC State. They're out. They're just out.
Got a lot of football left to play, Pete.
All right, this weekend, we've got a handful of good games. Texas Tech at Utah, we just talked about. 3.5-point favorites are the Utes at home. I like the Utes in the game. I don't know if they'll cover. It's going to be
if this game was at night, I would hammer Utah. This game is not at night. I'm not betting this game. I just want to watch it.
Yep. Auburn at Oklahoma. First test for OU. I guess they did play Michigan. What am I talking about? Oklahoma, 6.5-point favorites at home. This was a wild game last year. Really wild.
I like Oklahoma. I think this is going to be such a step up in defensive caliber of opponent for Auburn.
Oh, yeah. I think Oklahoma will cover this. Tulane at Ole Miss. Ole Miss, 11.5-point favorites. Talked about it earlier. We're both on Tulane. Scar at Mizzou. Mizzou, 13.5-point favorites.
Right now, for me, that line is too big at 13.5. If
that's no sellers. They're not. That's like, they're saying sellers isn't playing.
Even still, if this, I'm hoping this gets down to like 10.5, 9. And if this gets down to 10.5, I might tease it to 9.5 and then go there. It's kind of my plan.
I'm just shocked at the line regardless. Like this was a top 15 team on everybody's board. And now it's a 13-point line. Mizzou favored. Florida at Miami. Only a 3-point line. Miami's favored by 3. A little stinky. We know Florida's decent. We know Florida's a decent team.
Very stinky. Very stinky line.
Because Miami crushed USF. Florida lost to them. But that doesn't matter.
Does not. Transitive property doesn't really exist in college football.
Illinois at Indiana. Indiana, 3.5-point favorites. This is just a fun game.
It's a fun game. I think you do. Indiana has not looked good against when they play good teams. You got to show me Signetti. Show me against a good team, dude. One time, show me.
Yeah, this is their first test since the playoffs and the Ohio State game last year, where they didn't do well in either game, really. So it's fun because the loser's not going to the playoffs, and the winner might.
Yes, this is a de facto playoff game,
right? Mm-hmm. And then we got the Civil War in Eugene. I put it on here because it's the Civil War.
It's a fun game. Oregon's going to beat them by 1 trillion points.
It's 34.5 points.
I think you might take Oregon. That was a sleepy game at Northwestern. I took Oregon.
I was on Northwestern, by the way.
I think Oregon took the foot off the gas a little too early to cover that spread, but in this one, I might quack with the Ducks.
I went 17-8 in my one pick
There you
last
go.
week. Of course, the 3 games I talked to you guys about, like I lost all of those, but all the ones I didn't mention, I was like a 17-5, like just did amazingly well. I just got to shut my mouth. In the other pick for 2 deep, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I think I was 6-4. It wasn't a crazy good week. You're up there. You're doing well.
We're doing well.
All right, that's going to do it for the show. Of course, we talked for 2 hours because what else would we do?
We had a lot to talk about.
And the Tulane interview was really fun.
Awesome.
That was a good time talking to the Uptown Update member, Jack. Thank you, Jack, for coming on the show. We wish you luck this weekend, but make sure you're subscribed to Deep on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Set that up for automatic downloads. Make sure you're following Sons of Saturday on YouTube. That's where you can follow all of our shows. That's where you're watching right now. Comment, review, subscribe everywhere that you can. All of those things help us. Like the video. If you made it to the end, comment wave in the YouTube comments. Please comment wave if you made it to the end. We appreciate you guys. According to this viewer count, we're over 1,100 tonight. So that's pretty good. I mean,
we should fire coaches. We should fire coaches more often.
Yeah, we don't normally get that high on a Monday night here. Usually after the show when we post it, maybe, but not live. So that is awesome. Thank you all for the comments, for hanging out with us. And until next time, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.